Hey, welcome everyone to the Nutmeg Tavern. It is Friday again. Thank goodness it's Friday. I'm ready. We've had a busy week. We got a special guest today in the tavern to help me out as we do things later on in the show here. This is Brandon, and you may have seen him in some of the videos. He's popped up here and there, especially the Elm Bark Canoe video where he was helping out with that. So he's sitting in today. He doesn't have a specific topic to talk about, but occasionally, if you've got a question for Brandon, you can pop it into the chat. Also, back there, without his glasses.
That's right.
Yeah,
I keep leaving my glasses at the work site.
Yeah. So Kyle.
I'm Ryan.
Ryan is back behind the bar. Sorry, I got too many names. There's like too many names in the show today. So Ryan's back there. Ryan. Making stuff happen. He's not necessarily doing drinks today. He's actually
drinking them.
Yeah, but he. Anyway, on the other side of the wormhole time warp that we have here, on the 21st century side, tech side, Aaron is on the console. He's making all that software do the right thing, even though it wants to update and all that right in the middle of the show. But he's making it happen. Is it working all right?
It's working great.
Good. And Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
Is in the question seat over there. He's in the chat. He's collecting up all the very best questions. So ask some good questions. You can send them off to Kyle. No, yes. I mean it.
We've got great ones so far.
Good. And so we can, why don't we, before, we are going to do some special stuff later on. We're going to be talking about the cabin project. We're going to be talking about the mallets and the special fundraiser thing we got going on. Let's get one question, then I'm going to talk to Brandon for a minute. Give me the best. No. Give me a good question. I'm not gonna
Okay, here we go. Was the water salted for the corn soak? And if not, do you think it should have been?
It's exactly what, it's weird. I was thinking about exactly the same thing. It's like, I wonder, should I put salt in this water? Because I think it would turn out better. But I didn't do that. Because it didn't talk about that. And I was thinking about the idea of, that was really a sort of a Native American take, specifically because they talked about doing that in that particular writing. And they didn't mention the salt. And I was also thinking about how difficult salt was to get, especially even for Native Americans. They kind of used a substitute salt. I think it was hickory ashes. Can't remember which one. There were a particular kind of ash tree that you would burn that would kind of be more salty than other ones. Or they had particular places they would try to get salt. But it wasn't a common thing. So I thought, hey, let's do it without it. Let's do plain water. If I had a chance to do an episode that was specifically on that, I would do two. It's like, let's try one with salt and one without. But as it was, man, that stuff was excellent. We had a lot of talk about, hey, you're using regular sweet corn instead of Indian corn in that situation. Number one, it's really hard to find green Indian corn. Just, hey, I got to go steal some out of a farmer's field or something. So I went ahead and just used straight up sweet corn that you would find in the store because that's what you're going to be able to get a hold of easily. I don't know of anybody who's growing. Do you know anybody who's growing Indian corn these days? Nope. So you got to kind of find, one of your friends that's actually growing some. I would love to have tried green Indian corn up against that. I actually enjoy some corns that aren't super sweet, like a lot of sweet corns we eat today. It's like even just going and finding field corn that is, it is pretty interesting.
So in the chat just popped up Rick Wagner from
Red
Pants.
Rick.
And he says hello from Feast of the Hunter's Moon.
Oh,
so they're there playing music. If you guys are close to that, you should go out and see them.
Yeah, so the feast is this weekend. We're not there. But it's a wonderful event that's happening down in West Lafayette. So make sure to check out the feast if you're in that area. You won't see us there, but you'll see a lot of great folks at the feast this weekend.
If I have a question with picture and video references, how can I go about asking you?
Ooh, I would put it in if you can actually send links. You can send an email to questions@townsends.us. If you go to our website and go to the contact page, you can get the email there or fill in the information in that box. It's probably the best way to get a question to me. We get a lot of fun, difficult questions. We can't always answer them all. Just like in this setting, I can't answer all the questions that come through, so we will try our best. There you go. Brandon, so tell people about, your experience in living history. You can make it nice and short.
Nice and short. I started about 17 years ago making my own things, and it grew from there. And now I'm working with you.
Yeah. So blacksmithing, leather work, sewing stuff.
Traditional carpentry.
Yeah.
You name it.
So,
except for the cooking.
Exactly.
So, I came to the right place. Huh?
There you go. Yeah. So lots of experience kind of on your own, figuring those things out, doing it, working with a local group. Do you work with the
Stones Trace
Regulators? So, yeah. So Brandon has been in the hobby, for lack of a better word, for a long time, and has had lots of little kind of pieces of experience. And you're getting lots more here. It's like, hey, work with pottery. Hey, work with this thing or that thing. So
yes.
It's always it's like, I've got a new challenge for anybody, just basically, any day of the week. Hey, I came up with this great idea. You figure it out. So we have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff here. You worked on the Elm Bar Canoe project. You've been working on some of the other ones. I even had him like whacking on a dugout canoe for a couple weeks.
Yes.
So he's basically made one all by himself because I wanted another one, and he's the guy who did that. How did that one work out?
Pretty good. It was a big one.
That was the giant one. Yeah. So the giant tree we cut down in the first episode where we were talking about getting the tree, the giant cottonwood, that's the one that it took me forever to get that thing out of the woods, but I didn't leave it there. We got it out of the woods, and he turned it into a canoe. So we actually made 2 canoes out of that tree. Pretty fun, pretty amazing. Where are we at, Ryan? Where do you want to go?
Well, does Kyle have any more questions?
Yeah.
I do have more questions.
Okay.
I actually have a shout out here to you, Ryan, from Cody from Michigan. Says thank you, and the whole crew. Y'all made my honeymoon great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was cool.
Okay.
They came in here and toured the store on their honeymoon during their travels.
That is crazy.
I'm sure it wasn't the
it's the top end. Yeah. It's like, we went to Niagara Falls, but Townsend's is where
they stopped by, and it was awesome to meet them and let them see around, and they were really interesting to talk to. So, yeah, thank you.
What were some traditional medicines or concoctions for easing sore muscles at the end of the day?
Wow. I would have to go through the books. I usually kind of concentrate on the item itself and not the complaint that it's for, looking for weird ones like the wood louse, those little roly-poly bugs, using those for medicine, or all these really, really interesting things that show up in medicine, and I really don't pay attention to what they're supposed to be good for. And for aches and pains, I would have to, that's kind of one of those ones that's generic and probably has a good 20 or 30 solutions, at least that they thought. So let me write this one down, and because it's a really interesting topic, and it would be good to kind of build that out a little bit. So I'll write that down. I'll see what I can come up with.
I want to do a quick PSA for people who are saying the picture's blurry. Go down, hover over your window. There's like a little tool wheel, like a settings bar. Switch it to like 720p or 1080p, and that should fix it. Sometimes it'll automatically go to like low res,
fuzzy version.
Yeah,
YouTube is kind of looking at what it thinks is the best best resolution for your connection.
So we were gonna get into a cool fundraiser talk. Before we do that, you guys need to ask any pertinent questions or do any super chat stuff?
Yeah, let's do. I have a couple donations we could do real quick, and then
Okay.
we'll get into the main event.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. This is from Jim Lindley. Thank you. Was sweet corn common in the 18th century? This is from Alexander. Hi guys, love your channel. Keep up all the good work. All the best. Thank you. And this is from Mex are cool. John, what type of 18th century person would wear the wardrobe you two have on today? Sailor, tradesman, or merchant?
Gotcha.
That's
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
question.
Okay, 2 good questions. First question, sweet corn. They did not have sweet corn in the 18th century. That is really sort of starting in the 19th century and going into, where we're at today. Sweet corn today is nothing like most corns of the 18th century. And we've really hybridized to just a huge extent to be able to get corn as sweet as it is today. So they've really done a whole lot of work on that. It used to be even 20, 30 years ago that sweet corn, boy, you pulled it off the stalk and you had to hurry up and boil it really quick because the sugars start to change even right after you harvest it. Now they've worked on that so that that stuff can be harvested for 2 or 3 weeks and that's still sweet. So there's that issue, and there's the issue of flint versus dent corn, and almost all the corns that we have today are a dent variety of corn. You can tell that by after the corn is dried. If that top of the kernel has a big dent in it, then it's dent corn. If it's rounded and it's a hard kind of corn when it's dried, then that's a flint corn. And most of the corns, most of that in the 18th century is definitely going to be a flint. It's a whole different variety. The closest that we can easily get that you can just go down to the store and buy for a flint corn is actually popcorn. Most popcorns are flint corns. So if you want to make your own sort of corn meal and it's made out of a flint corn, you can grind up popcorn and you're going to get to a lot closer kind of a 18th century cornmeal that you're looking for. So it's not going to be nearly as sweet if you used a flint corn as this roasting ear. It would be a real fun experiment. Again, the video that I did was one where it was mostly about, hey, how do I feed these guys a period kind of food as we're building this cabin, not a cooking episode as I would normally try to do it, because I can't do 2 things at once, unfortunately.
I want to do a couple more just real quick.
I had to.
Oh,
there's
sorry.
I took
There's another
forever
one.
on that one.
Sorry.
What I'm wearing a sailor's outfit. This double-breasted jacket and this kind of hat. This checked shirt, very very typical for a sailor's outfit, early 19th century. He's got on a typical man's outfit that a farmer might wear, although he's not got a coat on. He's got his indoor. He's just wearing a waistcoat and a simple sort of hat that a farmer might wear or a backwoodsman might wear, something that'd keep the rain off, not put up in a tricorn kind of a situation. A little bit more standard, not fancy go to meeting kind of outfit, but a bum around the farm kind of outfit. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, just want to get a couple more before we get going. Logan C, thank you. Hello, gents. Looking forward to the auction for one of the mallets. Producer Chris just says shall. Maybe he was posted earlier. John Kennington, and he says he posted his comment down in chat. Just a bit to help you with the cabin.
Oh, super.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing today. Number 1, we're not doing an auction.
I called it an auction because I thought we could make that happen. We looked at the different ways to make an auction happen, trying it out on our website, and it broke our website. Let me tell you,
Most of our week has been
it's
fixing
like,
the thing website.
yeah, right. It's like, okay, install auction app. Our website explodes and dies and turns into garbage, and all my hair is ripped out, and it took hours and hours to fix our website after, and so we're not gonna use that. And I thought we could do it on eBay, but that kind of restricts people's ability to get to it. So instead, we're just going to have fixed price on these guys, we're going to turn them on a little bit at a time so that you get a chance to jump in there and get it. So it's first come first serve on these things. There's one each.
Yeah.
So that when they're bought, they disappear off the website, and we will kind of trickle them out. Yes.
Yeah. So we need to talk a little bit about what these are, what we've been using them for folks that haven't been around for the live streams recently.
So way back, has probably been 2 years ago or so, we did an episode on making a wooden maul. And it's one of those tools that you have to have when you're out building things like we were building. You'll use a wooden mallet or a wooden maul for so many different things. Today, we don't typically think of this as a standard kind of tool that you find in your wood shop, but it's super useful in an 18th century context. You can use it also in a kitchen, although these have been roughed up, they've been used, but a finer version of this you would use as a potato masher or, whatnot, or as corporal punishment. Anyway, so what can I say? So I made mauls, a couple years ago, and we used them so much that they got destroyed. So I had to make a whole bunch more for this cabin project, because as we started working, we found them to be very, very useful for the techniques that we were using to build them, because we would use the axes as basically big handled chisels, and you whack them with a wooden maul. You don't whack them with a steel hammer because you will ruin your axe. But you can whack them all day with a wooden mallet and you don't hurt your axe at all. And so it's a truly wonderful, great thing, but they do kind of get destroyed as you work with them, and you got to get a new one. And I thought as we were using these and we would retire them, it's like, boy, if we stopped before we had to retire them, well, people might be interested in them. So we've got these. These all have been used on the cabin project. Different people.
In the videos.
Yes, in the videos you will see all these being used.
And you even made them look a little better than when we were finished with them. Right?
Yeah, I chopped some of the hairiness of them off, and we sanded the ends so that people can sign them. So all the crew, most of these haven't been signed yet by all. I've signed them all, and the rest of the crew will sign them all. So all of them have been signed or will be signed. They all have a little tag that goes with them, a thank you tag. And these are all sweaty and beaten up, and some of them are worse than others.
They've been tossed in the sand and the mud.
Yeah.
We've not thrown any at each other.
And each one of these, each one of these I've turned myself. They were all made by me.
They look really good.
By hand.
You're getting better at it.
They are not super fine pieces of work because they're meant to be used, abused, and then chucked.
If you get it, we guarantee you can hit stuff as hard as you want to with it.
Yeah, because we've been really wailing.
We've broken several, and we didn't break these.
Yeah, well, Ryan's broken several. Most of the rest of us don't work at it so hard. So, how do you want to start this?
Okay, so we've got 8 of them for sale. Okay, so we have 8 of them for sale. One of them is up right now. Aaron's going to share the link, and after that one sells, then we'll start trickling some more out.
Which one are we starting with?
The beetle, I believe.
The beetle. I think this picture, the beetle was, I think you were using, Brandon was using the beetle, and this one's actually a little more used than most of them are. It is very, very
rotate it.
well used. This particular one has gotten a lot of use out of them. This one's even got a little,
So that one's perfect because it's got some weight to it.
Oh yeah.
But when you're up on the top of a 7-foot wall, and you're keeping your balance and you're using both of your hands, you want something that you can use with one hand.
On to the next one.
Oh, is that one?
Did it sell?
Yeah.
Okay. Set beetle aside. Which one do you want to go to?
We're not going to go anywhere just yet. You can keep talking about those malls for a second.
About the whatty-whats?
You can keep talking about the malls. Or the
No, they're all sold separately, everyone.
Right.
Not all of them sold.
They're all sold separately, and
saying.
they vary in size. I'm going to start with smaller ones. We'll try to mix it up. They get bigger, so we're going to end maybe with like the Judge, which is the Ryan mallet. That's gigantic. And most of these are elm. I turned most of these out of elm. I think there might be an ash in here, and we may switch to cherry as we go into the future. This next big batch, because I continue to have to make them for the project as we go, and as we go up onto the roof, I think we're going to get smaller because it's hard to. If you're only doing one, you can really only have one person up there, so they have to have a smaller mallet. It doesn't work as fast. So when you got two people, one guy on a giant mallet, and so
Someone was asking why we're fundraising.
so
It's a big project.
yeah, this project is big. The people that are working on this project are all paid people, except we did have one volunteer that week before, kind of a special situation. But these videos are not inexpensive to produce because we're doing 99% of this work by hand, and all these guys work hard, but they all want to get paid. So the videos, a project like this can be quite expensive to produce, just time-wise, churning it out. And while, these, I don't know, how these feel to price to you, but we'll sell all these mallets and it won't even be able to fund even a single day of our project, and we've already spent days and days on it. So,
All right, do you want to show them the Smasher?
Smasher, yes.
Smasher time.
Smasher. Where is Smasher? This is one of the smaller ones. This one's ash, and it hasn't been dinged up quite as much. It's survived a little bit better. We've got a lot of ash. All these, not only have these been turned by me, but these all came off of out of trees that grow right there, right around the cabin. So basically, it's like, this is a tree that is in the way, or it's already sort of earmarked for this project. So this is an ash piece that's right out from our property, and this one's a nice one because it's not too heavy.
So Smasher's going to go live right now.
Okay, Smasher's going to go live right now. And we are going to get to a little bit. I've got some little different design ones as we go on, and some bigger pieces as we go on too.
It's up. I'm throwing the link in chat. There's also one in the description box if you can go check it out.
So in the chat or in the description box. And after this one, do we want to go to a quick question? Or do we want to cover a question right now?
Right now.
Let's do a question.
Okay. Did they have colonial cocktail shakers, or did they just mix everything up in a mug?
They just generally mixed stuff up in a mug, or they might have had a particular kind of a larger can. And a can is, in the 18th century, is like is a big mug. We don't use that same term today, but in the 18th century they had a bunch of different items that we wouldn't recognize, that we would call something a jug, and it's like, no, that's not a jug, that's or they would call it a jug and we would call it something different. So the terminology can be a little bit strange, but they had these larger drinking vessels that they might use for mixing, and then it would go down into something that would be more typical size that we would use, but not a shaker per se that I know of.
All right, so Smasher sold.
Okay.
All right.
Smasher's gone.
And if you bought it, definitely shout out in the chat, and we'll
Yes, thank
give
you.
you
Yeah.
a thank you. The person who got the beetle was
Mike Crook.
Mike Crook. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Where do you want to go, Ryan?
Just keep on talking, John.
Oh, well, yes.
Kyle can keep asking you questions.
What do you want? Teaser. Oh, yeah, perfect timing. Thank you, Aaron. You can just say it louder than
Sorry,
that.
I won't
So-
be surprised.
if you're interested, and I know you are, about Monday's video. Monday's video is going to be the first of the cabin building proper videos. This is the video that you will see some of these mallets in. This is just a little bit. How long is it? 30
Oh,
seconds?
if that. I had to last minute grab a little
So
chunk. I'm not even sure what's in this.
Oh, great. Is that we don't even know what's in this? So good luck with this. Aaron's going to play just a little chunk of Monday's video.
Now.
There we are. We're back. I hope you enjoyed that. How did that look, Aaron? Which section did you pull
It's
out of
really early on in the
good.
project, and I was stupid and didn't get anything with mallets. It's just all axes. But you will see on Monday.
Hey,
all
well,
the
that's
good
life.
stuff.
That's life.
Okay, so we've got two. The next two are going to come up at the same time. Do you want to go ahead and show them what they
Yeah,
are?
so here's number one. Now, this one was made a little while ago. This one actually was made up for the Canoe series, I think. So this one's actually made in a kind of a hammer way.
One of
and
my
that's-
favorites,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, and we actually had the giant one. You probably what video
I
did we
broke
use?
this bigger brother.
What,
Yeah.
what did we call it? The clown hammer. What did we did I make it for the canoe one? I know we used it in a video.
You
'Cause
made
people-
You made it when we were just collecting some logs
Yeah.
before the canoe.
Anyway, you've probably seen the giant clown hammer, but I know we used it in a
I don't
video. and
think I
can't
don't think
remember-
you used it in the canoe video though.
No,
We didn't end up using it, but we had it on site.
Yeah.
Right. So we had the giant hammer. Even Brandon probably used it some and those can be really handy because you can get it something right at the edge. So you can get some more weight behind it right at the edge of it. So it can be really handy. This is the only one that is in this batch that's in a hammer form. The trick with the hammer form though is you need more tools to make it. So
They
if
want
you're-
to know if that's blood on the.
It very well could be.
Don't
No,
ask questions.
Just buy it.
so this guy, they are a little bit more harder to make because you actually need a drill and or some other way to get the hole done in them. The nice thing about these guys is you can make them either. There's one later on where you can just make it with an axe, like the mall video, or you can turn these out with a real simple lathe. Most of these are lathe turned. This is the only one that's in the hammer form.
And it is the only one that's been used on more than just.
yeah,
Well,
it's
maybe,
been used
yeah,
in
I
a lot
think
of
so.
different projects.
Okay, so I'm going to make those go live in the next couple of seconds.
Okay.
You guys can refresh that link if you want to.
Right, and this is the other one. This one's the I think there's a picture of me using this particular one, and this one's nice because it's a mid-sized mallet. So we've got bigger ones, we got smaller ones. This one's small enough you can still use it with one hand, or there's enough handle here that you can really get on something and whack it with both hands. So it's a real nice versatile piece, and this one got a lot of use. Now these guys were turned green and used green because we didn't have. These were made up just a few days before they got used, so their kind of damage is a little bit different. They kind of open up on the grain, but that's what happens when you need to build a tool and use it right away. You don't have a chance to have it sit around and get all seasoned. So these were used sort of, I'm going to make it and then we're going to use it. This guy was probably a half and half. The handle was already seasoned, so when you put a green head onto a seasoned handle, it shrinks around it and makes a real tight fit on the handle.
Hey, Kyle, are there any cabin or Brandon specific questions?
There are.
Okay, let's hear some.
Let's see if I can find one here real quick. This one says, if you were actually just getting your land and building your cabin at this time of year, what's next? Barn, winter garden, poultry coops?
Well, you're probably going to have hard enough time getting the house done at this time of year. And one of the quotes is the best time of year to start out making your cabin and getting around for a kind of a homestead situation where you're just getting onto the land is doing that in April. It's terrible to do that this time of year. You're going into a harvest situation. You've got to make your thing right before winter. A good example that is when Washington puts his troops at Valley Forge and says, okay, it's Christmas Day. Here's our spot. They march to the spot on Christmas Day. You guys build your cabins. You can imagine how difficult that would have been to do that in the wintertime. We needed to, on this cabin, strip the bark off of these trees. If we would have gotten there in April or May, stripping the bark off the trees is super easy. It comes off in one great big piece.
We would have saved easily a day's worth of labor.
Easily a day's worth of labor. So stripping the bark off of trees.
Maybe two.
Yeah. Even you can strip, the bark is still easy to get all the way to, say, the last week of June, and then the bark starts to really harden up on the trees and gets much harder to get off. But if you're doing it this time of year, you get your cabin done, you're going to be concentrating on getting the kind of food you need to, harvest or preserve to get you through winter. And that's the scary part. It's like, okay, we've got our house. How are we going to preserve food? That's what you're concentrating on. So you might concentrate immediately on either a grain storage, like a corn crib, or maybe a small, sort of lean-to barn to put livestock into.
So the wood hammer one, I think, is that Logan C?
Yeah.
Thank you, Logan.
Thank you, Logan.
Yes. Thank you.
This question says, when would they start an average day to work on the cabins? Would it be dawn to dusk?
Yeah, it's going to be dawn to I'm too tired to work anymore is what it is. And dusk might be that. And you might even work a little bit after dark if you have any way to do light, which you probably don't. And by the end of the day, especially a summer day or a spring day when, the sun doesn't go down for quite a while, you're gonna be worn out. We were worn out. By if it's hot by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like forget it. And then you might take a while to rest and then do a little bit more work and then wait for the next day.
Oh, we were all way worn out before 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's just when John said we could leave.
Yeah. It's like, okay, fine. You guys can leave.
What's a piece of modern technology you wish you could use on the cabin build?
Well, if you wanted to speed up the process, you'd go in there with a chainsaw and do it, and you'd speed up the process a lot. If you did all the notches with chainsaws and you were careful about them, and even these V notches, it's a lot harder to do a saddle notch with a chainsaw than it is something like a V notch where you can just come in at an angle. There's even then when you're trying to do the V notches, the bottom side of the log is easy to cut. The top, not as easy. It's almost kind of a hand done kind of thing. So probably if I was going to choose something, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very handy chainsaws, but
Yeah, he's all about chainsaws.
Have you ever tried protecting the mallet with leather to increase their lifespan?
Not leather, but if I had my choice, and you don't want these to bust up, you'd put an iron ring around the outer edge of this, and if you put that ring on red hot, it'll shrink down onto the wood and hold it together. And you definitely see things like mallets, like the hammer version, where they would put iron rings around the mallet face. And then if you put it back far enough, then the wood can kind of mushroom around it and hold it on. But that holds all that wood and keeps it from cracking open.
What else would the crew eat as they continued their work?
They're going to eat the standard kind of ration that is going to be, they're going to be able to carry with them flour, cornmeal. They might have something like a pounded up dried beef. And then it's all about game, what you can catch, deer, turkey, especially fish, those kinds of things. So that's the kind of food that they're going to have available to them.
Okay, so we're going to put 2 more malls up. Let's go ahead for the people that have jumped on since we started. Let's talk about exactly what we're doing and why we're doing a fundraiser.
Right. So today, kind of the main thing we're doing here is a fundraiser to help us do the cabin project. It's an expensive, long-term project with a lot of expenses attached to it, and we thought it would be great if people wanted to be part of it. It's impossible for people to come out and help us build the cabin per se, but they can help us by purchasing one of our used tools to help us fund the cabin building, all the labor that goes into it, all the materials that have to be purchased. And we bought things like logs and, all kinds of tools to use for the project. So we thought it'd be a great way if people wanted to help support the channel to support us in this way. So we've got these tools available that we have used in the cabin building per se. And these are all handmade tools made by us specifically for this, used specifically for this project. So that's what we're doing here. We're about halfway through them, right?
Yeah, next up is Mini Mall.
Mini Mall.
Clever name.
Yes.
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Mini Mall, again, is a little bit bigger piece. This one's even longer than the last one. This one has gotten used so much that I had to kind of ship off a lot of the excess that was all ragged, and it would catch you, and it was trouble. Anyway, so it's lost a little bit of its oomph, but again, it's another one of these that's light enough that you can use it with one hand, but still has enough handle and enough weight that you can use it two-handed. A great size for your cabin project, or if you really need to beat something. Sometimes you need to beat things.
And the Kyle's up now.
Oh, the Kyle.
Yeah. This is your chance, people.
Here's the Kyle.
So
right,
Kyle works in shipping, and he may include some beard trimmings with this
Whoa.
if you'd like him to.
The Kyle is made with an axe instead of turned on the lathe. This one was made probably a year and a half ago for the other cabin project, not the cabin per se, but the shelter.
The three-sided structure.
Yeah, the three-sided log structure that we did. So this one's been used for a lot of different projects. It's still in pretty darn good shape. And it's nice and weathered. It looks good, and this is one
Just
that
like me.
So if you want something that Kyle's put good use, actually all of us have used it. Even
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah. Even Josh has used this one in the past. So, and this one's held up pretty well, and it's nice and seasoned, and nice primitive look to it. And this one's ash too. This one's an ash.
Again,
piece.
just like me.
There you go.
So those will go live in a couple of seconds. You can refresh that page for the links. Let's talk a little bit about what the cabin is, not just like for us to make a video on building a cabin or the experience of building it, but it's also a set for the future where we can do stuff.
Yeah, the cabin project, it is an experiential thing. What is it like to have to build this? How much time would it take someone to do it? What are the different skills? And that's what we are learning all about as we work on the project. We can talk about those things in videos. So it isn't just a video about how to, or even just how to for us. But then when it's done, it gets to be a set that we can, it's in the background or is part of other videos. So like we use the German kitchen for cooking episodes, the cabin, when it gets done, will be used for cooking episodes and other episodes about the kind of skills that you would use or the techniques or different items that we can use. And that cabin helps us kind of anchor us in the 18th century in a building that is just like they would have made. So it's going to be able to be used in a lot of different ways, even sometimes just plain, how do I get in the mindset? How do I understand what it was like. Well, I can go and sit in the cabin, you know, start up a fire and read those things, and it really gets you in the, you know, complete mood of, yeah, this is exactly what it would have been like. So that's a lot of what this cabin is about. So it's about the doing of it and the feeling of it and the being there of it. It's got a lot to it.
Hey, Aaron, do you have some super chat stuff stacking up over
I
there?
do. Let's do that real quick. Thanks everyone who's donated. Thanks everyone who's bought a mallet. It's pretty awesome. Okay, where did I leave off? John Kennington, that was the last one. So this is from Donna Carmine. Thank you. Lumpy Thumb says, period underwear. They didn't have boxer briefs readily available.
Nope.
What were the undergarments of the time?
Undergarments.
Amber Crystal Dotier. Thank you. Bushcrafters even now commonly use a mallet or stick and a good knife to split wood. It's called batoning.
Yeah.
Batoning.
Batoning. Yeah.
It's useful and fun.
Yes.
Make sure you have the right knife with
Very
the right steel.
Cathartic. Yes.
Robert Parsons, thank you. Love the channel and all the projects you're working on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Charles Neville says, tell a joke. Okay. Joseph Edwards says, keep it up. And then Debbie Boring says, for the cabin. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
All of
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Undergarments. Wait a minute.
I just want to hear the joke.
You know, like 18th century jokes. I wish I had some for you, but
I bet you Brandon knows some jokes, but he probably doesn't know anything he can say on live YouTube.
Yeah, they can't be loud.
Yeah. So there you go. Undergarments of the 18th century. Your shirt is, and in a woman's situation, her shift or chemise. That's the main undergarment. There really isn't anything under that. And the shirts, the chemises, the shifts, they're all very long. So they tuck into your pants or whatnot. And that ends up being your underwear per se. Sometimes they had things that were called drawers, but they generally were more to protect your outer clothing. And those even would probably be on the outside of your shirt. Your shirt is your undergarment, and that's one of the things when you see someone just walking around with a shirt on. And sometimes in these videos, it's so hot and we're working and we're in a kind of a wilderness situation. People might wear just their shirt, but you are walking around in your underwear. But in a very kind of frontiery situation, that might be appropriate. But
Well, it's probably the equivalent of people working in just their shorts or something like that in their yard or whatever. You see that kind of thing.
So, exactly. But normally, if you're in a civilized situation, you're going to be wearing at least your waistcoat and usually even a jacket on the outside of that. That's proper clothing.
I want to do one more real quick.
Okay.
It's a really nice donation from Julie Stevens.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you furnish the cabin with traditional furniture and stuff so we can see how they may have been set up?
We will do our utmost to do that. And that really is another one of those. How do we put in the cabin just the things that they would have done? And we've got some great folks to kind of touch base on. And some of that you judge by things like the probate records or records of what happens when, or what is listed in a will. So you can find some.
There we go. Is that back? Can everyone hear? I can hear now. Can everyone in chat hear audio? Talk. You talk.
Me? I'm
You
supposed to talk.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Wanna make sure
I
the
didn't
mic's
know this
on.
was a sound
Yeah, it's
check.
back. Okay, we're
Oh,
good. That's
boy.
weird.
There we go.
All right, sorry about that.
Yes, Julie Stevens, we will do our very best to put just the right things in the cabin, furniture-wise.
Okay, so I see that the last two that we put up are still on there. Let's
Okay.
get in there and get yourself a mallet. We got two more after this.
Okay. While we're here, let me talk about Patreon. We have people who support us on Patreon. They do an amazing job of supporting us on Patreon. And Patreon is a website that specifically has a way to fund different sort of content creators, and it with a little bit of money per month. Instead of saying, I want to give somebody, X amount of dollars, it's I'll give them, $2, $5 a month, whatever. So we have some wonderful, more than 500 Patreon supporters. The new ones for this week: Melody Walton, Chris Holthouse, Planet Express, Nick. Then we have Corey. I don't know if I wrote this one down right. Corey Hack. Then there's Star Lee, CR. There's Jake. There's Pamela Husing. Fox Hollow Farm in Maryland. We got Mark Winchester, Kat York, and Carrie Kirk. Oh yeah, and special thanks to Candace. And sometimes we get in there and talk to the Patreon people. Occasionally I can give them a special video or whatnot. But mostly it's just a way for people to help support what we do, just like Super Chat or whatever. So special thanks to the Patreon folks.
What you got, Kyle?
I've got questions.
He's got questions.
Would building a privy be one of the first things settlers did, or was that a minor job that was done later?
It's a minor job that's done later. Generally, people might go a long time with just it's that spot over there by that big tree. That's as simple as it is. And if you can just go to a particular spot, then you don't have to spend the time it takes to build something like an outhouse. That would probably be, the third or fourth structure you're kind of going to make. Unless, maybe wintertime would encourage you to make something really quick because, cold, windy.
What will you use for windows in the cabin, glass or animal hide?
Well, the one quote that I've got talks about greased paper, or a lot of these just had a kind of a shutter that you would close and you would just open it up. So you just have like an open window. So there's a couple of different options there. They had many creative, interesting ideas about what you would do with a window.
This question I thought was pretty fun. It says, when I swing a baseball bat, it sometimes hurts when I hit something harder than a baseball.
Yeah.
How did you protect your hands by using the mauls?
We didn't.
Yeah, there was no protection.
We didn't. You understand though the sweet spot on a mallet.
Mm-hmm.
After you start using it, it's like, whoa, if I hit the very end, all that vibration comes back and But if you hit it just right in the good sweet spot, the weight carries through and it doesn't shock you as much.
The wonderful thing about being on a team with John, if he's holding the axe and you're swinging the mallet, he's moving the axe the whole time, so you really never know where it's going to hit.
Yeah.
And your hands are just shaking the whole time.
So
Keltoid5 commented, and he was asking, is there a really big mallet? Because he's got a place on his wall.
Yeah, that was a donation. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
so
right.
The Kyle is a big one, and we've got an even bigger one coming up, but I can't put it live because the two, the Mini Mall and the Kyle, are still available. So you guys got to get in there and buy those. Mini Mall sold?
Yep.
Somebody buy that Kyle. Maybe you'll get some beard trimming.
Take me home. Take me home.
Maybe that's what's holding this one up. Really. It's like, no beard trimmings.
Who bought Mini Mall?
I don't know.
Shout
Shout
out,
out and
guys.
chat. Let's go. I don't know. I'll keep
Thank
it.
you, whoever you are.
Oh, here's a good joke if we're doing jokes. If we don't participate in this fundraiser, we'll have a mallet wear attack.
Man, can you ban them, please?
No, I'm not going to ban it. That was good. That was good.
Mallet wear attack.
Yeah, I don't know who got
If
that.
you got
Maybe it's
Mini Mall-
anonymous. They're trying to be anonymous.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. I guess so. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
What you got?
I got questions.
Let's do
Do you need to treat the wood on the cabin? And did they have a way of doing that back then?
They're few, especially on this kind of cabin. They wouldn't have done anything at all. We may go ahead and whitewash the inside of this one, just basically to help make videos, because the inside of these cabins, it's like a hole. It's very dark. You know, the windows are small if they have a window. Generally, if you wanted to see in them, you would open up the door and leave it open. And so there isn't a lot of light. If you don't whitewash the inside, you really can't see much at all inside those. So it's going to be very challenging to use them in that sort of way. So whitewash is one of the easiest, quickest, simplest sort of treatments. Outside-wise, they would have just let them weather. When you're doing a hewn house, they might have sided it on the outside, like with board and batten, and then painted it. That generally is a 19th century thing, and sometimes just in particular areas. So right around here, houses are actually known for being sided after they were built. So you would build a log house, and then you'd side it, and you couldn't tell that it was a log house underneath. It was kind of a way to say, a way to hide that you were using a fairly inexpensive building method compared to other methods.
It's kind of cool when we've come back the next day to the cabin just to see how the logs have
They
weathered.
weather very quickly.
One turned bright green on us.
Yeah, special kind of mold.
Yeah. This one says, what is an old 18th century treatment for cough and runny nose?
Yeah,
Brandon?
we had that. We had that. I will try to come up with some remedies. Maybe next week. I might have another idea for a topic, but tune in next week. We'll
I'm
cover.
gonna interrupt real quick.
Yes.
I went ahead and I made the last two available.
Okay.
Even though the Kyle hasn't sold yet, he needs to.
Okay.
There's the Brandon.
Here's the Brandon.
It's a good one.
It is.
And
Show
then there's the Judge.
And the Judge. So there's the Brandon.
Nice little.
Get the judge.
And the Brandon, I mean, it looks like a wooden bottle, doesn't it? Well, in the 18th century, they had a bottle that was shaped like a mallet, and they called it a mallet bottle. Show us a mallet bottle. There's one right there on the shelf,
There's three, actually.
right? The one that looks like a mallet?
This?
Yeah, it's a mallet bottle. It's stuck down. It's stuck down to this all. So you can see, there's a mallet bottle. They made bottles the same shape as that. So we think of it as that's bottle shaped. It's like, no, the bottle is mallet shaped. That's the right direction.
That one's sold.
Oh,
And then there's the Judge. We gotta talk about it.
here comes the Judge. It takes two hands to lift this one up. There you go. This one's the Judge.
Yeah.
And I had to make this one special because Ryan kept breaking all the other ones. So it's got a really thick neck here.
And I love it.
And
It's a whimmer, let me tell you.
yeah, it's definitely two-handed. And
Well,
let me
no,
tell
it's
you.
one-handed too.
Yeah, well, it's two-handed for normal people.
Well, let me tell you. You can use it one-handed. It works just fine. And it does the trick because gravity really helps you with that one.
It's an arm workout if you want to use it one-handed. This one, I even to smooth out the handle a little bit, I used a little draw knife on it. But nice and big, you can really get on it. And it made notches a quick work. When Ryan and sometimes we used both green logs and seasoned logs. It wasn't the intention, but it's what we had. And the seasoned logs, whoa, those guys were hard. Some of them very hard. So it really took a mallet this big to really make a dent.
The Brandon has sold.
Brandon?
Nice.
Yeah.
Little Bunny Sunshine, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I said that like 5 minutes ago.
Now, I can't
sorry.
tell you
My
how
bad.
much I like the Judge.
Yeah.
It makes me smile. You hit things hard with it. And you can hit anything you want. You don't have to
Sell
hit
them,
an
Ryan.
axe.
Sell that.
I'm
man.
just saying. You don't
Yeah.
have to hit an axe. You can hit anything.
Yeah.
And you can hit it hard.
Christina Tom bought the mini mall.
Awesome.
That was a
Thank
while
you so
back.
much.
Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So yeah, this one it's fun to use, and you can use it as a doorstop. It sits well on the ground and is heavy enough. and big enough that it's not going to fly away. But you can pick it up easily and move it. And I think this guy weighs about 10 pounds or so. I think something in there, in that vicinity. But a really useful piece, and hasn't been beaten up too bad.
There it went.
Well, it's hard to beat it up. That's
It's
why.
gone.
Right.
It's
That
gone?
one was gone.
Sold.
Judge?
Was that
Thank
Caltoid
you. Who
5?
did that? Who bought that? Hang on,
Caltoid 5 asked for a big one. Let's see if it
Right.
was. Let's see who got
So
it.
there you go.
There you go.
And
There's one left.
Got
Wow.
the judge. Logan
Wow.
C.
Logan C got 2 mouths. Wow.
okay.
Right on. Thank you.
Still have the Kyle.
So, yeah, who wants to buy the Kyle?
Sell
Maybe
it. Yeah,
it's-
that's you.
Get out
Sell
there.
that, Kyle.
let's change it. It's like you won't get beard hairs with this one. How's that?
We just pulled it all out. It's all done.
But now the beard.
No. But since I have touched it and you will touch it, my beard power will pass through.
Oh well, there you go.
and
Yeah.
You'll be able
Very
to grow
powerful.
a really nice beard.
I think I even
While we
used this
wait,
on the
can I
big
do
canoe,
some
too.
donations?
Oh,
I
you
have
used
a
it.
whole
Yeah.
bunch.
This was used on the canoe also.
That used
sold
to
it.
be the big one
Yeah.
before the judge came along.
Right. Well, I was worried that if I handed that to you, you'd just break it.
Well, I have broken
So
some that
as
size.
soon as really all the other ones were driven by the
Oh,
idea.
it sold.
Yeah.
Okay. So
let's see who grabbed it. Comment,
Who
guys.
got it? Who got it?
and special request if you want beard hairs to go with it, but
Wait to see.
I don't think I would do that.
I don't know.
Logan C is dual mauling.
Logan C is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah.
Is that all of them?
Well, yeah. It's all of the ones that we've
All
used.
the ones that are used. We do have, if you were like, oh gosh, I really wanted, I really got.
Lousy. Lalzie got it. Thank you so much.
Got the
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all those guys are gone. Those are all one of a kind pieces. I did make up a batch of these are unused. These will probably show up on the website. These are all made out of cherry, and they're just unused. They're just signed by me, simple little guys. These I think will be available. I got it. I don't know.
There are 6 that we could if
Yeah.
folks comment and they want them to be available now, they can
Right.
be. But they
if
won't.
not, they'll be available in the future for a little while. These are made by me, so I just like squirrel, and then I'm off doing something else.
Well, John has a lot of spare time on his
yeah,
hands.
I've got a lot of spare time to work on projects like this, so these may or may not live for very long. But
Somebody commented that the judge should have been named the Darth Maul.
oh. The judge has a special meaning though, because I don't know if I'll go.
Let's do some donations.
Let's just say it's in honor of Justice Kerr.
Yes.
That's all we really need to talk about.
Should I go through these? There's quite a bit. And it's 5 o'clock.
Yes,
Probably
please.
go through
Please.
these.
Holy cow.
Okay, what was the last one? Oh, we did Caltoid 5.
Yes.
Because he's... Okay, Susan Solomon, thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Love all your videos and learn a lot from them. You all do a great job. Lots of hugs to you all at Townsend's. Thank you. Aaron C., are you auctioning a mullet? Mullet. Stephanie I had to check to make sure I spelled it right.
Right.
Selling what? Stephanie Sanchez, thank you. Keltoid 5, again, thank you.
Yes.
One more thing, do they ever really use hot air balloons, or was it just a novelty? This is from Amber Crystal Dotier. If you're interested in period clothing, check out the Prior Attire YouTube channel. Wide range
Okay.
of periods, Western European, great research. They show underwear, outward, hair,
There you
etc.
go.
There you go.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen that.
Some of
channel.
those
Have
like
you?
they dress a person. So yeah.
David Dinelli, thank you. Were there restrictions on where a person could harvest their logs from? How did they stake their claim on the land? And this is from a really nice donation from Andrew Panos, I believe. Watching from the YouTube HQ in NYC. Love the channel. What odd video ideas have you thought of but haven't got to?
Whoa.
Modern food with old tools, beauty creator, drama uploads. There you go. Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
Appreciate
everyone.
that.
Yeah. Did they have balloons in the 18th century? Yes.
Hot air
Yes.
balloons.
Hot air, yes, definitely. In fact, I think they experimented with both hydrogen and hot air. a lot of those early experiments didn't work out so well on the people who were in the balloon, but they did it anyway. Learned a lot as they did it. So yes, balloons are an 18th century kind of thing. Really, really interesting. And wouldn't it be cool to, reproduce an 18th century balloon and survive? How did you mark out their claims? And claims are a big thing, especially, one of the hotbeds of that claim idea is that Kentucky area in the 18th century, in the 1780s, 1790s, and how that all worked. And people would be able to claim a certain number of acreage, and they would have to go and sort of build a structure and put a crop in the ground, and then they would be able to claim it. Now, how they actually marked it out, I think it was like, oh, there's that big tree over there and the big rock over there, and it was kind of like that. They would be able to make their claims on this certain number of acreage. Weird video ideas. I've got a lot of weird video ideas, but generally I try to suppress them because, and when I say them, these guys start laughing at me. And
there certainly are some recipes that we would like to do, but we don't know if YouTube wants them.
No.
Hey, do you want to make that link live? People are
for
asking.
these guys?
Yeah, or you had people throwing out dollar amounts.
I'm happy to.
I'll take it. That's all I got for doing. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, another one popped in there.
One more came in. ZX the Hedgehog 42. Have you ever considered doing an 18th century cooking Blu-ray set? I'd definitely buy one if you offered it on your website. We have them on DVD.
Yes, but they're all just SD. They're not HD full Blu-ray kind of things. Blu-rays are a lot more expensive to produce, and we would have to go through and remaster all that stuff. I don't know. It'd be good though, wouldn't it? It would. I don't know. I have to think about that. I'm still thinking about that weird video idea. I don't know. There's got to be some pretty crazy.
Oh, we could come up with some.
Okay, so the cherry mallets are up. There are only 6 of them. So if you'd like to grab one, please do. We really appreciate everybody participating in this.
Yeah, awesome.
It is, and thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, guys. It's been a great project to work on, and we've been working on it for a couple of weeks now. And it's moving along. It's going to go into the next phase. Is going to get even harder as we move along. But we're able to do it because that you guys want us to do it, because you talk, you comment about it, and you help support us in these kind of ways, like buying the mallets or merch or, super chat, Patreon, and just watching, commenting, supporting us in that way. And it's hard to imagine how much support that really is when people, come into the chat and are, I'm excited about this video or that video. That spurs us on to do even more. So thank you for all your amazing support. Thank you for all you do.
Hey, John,
thanks for watching. Yes.
Real quick before you sign off.
Yes.
If you guys would like to talk with us and meet with us in person at all, and you are by Marion, Indiana, that's next week.
Oh yeah.
Next weekend, Marion, Indiana, Mississinawa 1812 event. One of the very best events in this area. Lots and lots of great people. Maggie and
Rick and Hillary will be there.
Rick and Hillary will be there. Lots of great folks. It's a really good event. Thank you, Ryan, for reminding me of that. And if you're in that West Lafayette area this weekend, a great event. We won't be there, but check it out. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for watching today.